People on Facebook can see this. I guess if you're listening on the radio, well, this is the perfect time to ask you to like when you get home from your car, or pull over to the side of the road and use the iPhone, for crying out loud. And it is the first time to like the 1420 WEMB Sports Radio Facebook page. That's very important because not only can you now see all of the segments slugged, works kind of like a 10-minute interval podcast. Some of them go a little bit shorter, some of them go a little bit longer, but that's about generally where, 10 minutes, somewhere around there, maybe 12, of the segments that I put up, for Tri-City Sports Now on 1420 WEMB Sports Radio. Who am I? Why, I'm Marky Billson, your voice of choice for a new generation of Tri-City sports fans, because I got the best guests and the hardest-hitting opinions in the market, hence I own it. Hence, I am nominated for 3 awards in the Best of the Best Readers Poll, Johnson City Press, Sports Personality, Radio Personality, and Best Sports Talk Show. Is that what it's officially called? Sports Talk Show? Sports Program. Here's the deal. Okay? Don't talk like this. I don't know why. Here's the deal. You will see me on this program, because we put it on Facebook Live, this handsome face of mine, and the fact that I'm also the best-dressed sportscaster in the market. Even the TV guys do not dress up like I do on Facebook Live. I need a tuxedo rental place to come on and every day wear their tuxedo, and they need to just give me this, be tailored and all that. Anyway, a project for the sales staff. But you would see me then, and normally what do you do? You walk, the sport coat is open. I don't like sweaters. I haven't liked sweaters since I watched Mr. Rogers. And even then, I didn't like pullover sweaters. I like the button-down, Mr. Rogers type, we're going to stay warm type sweaters. Okay, right now you're going to see me, and I have very immodestly opened up my coat, and guess what? On Facebook Live, it doesn't look so good. So, I now close the button, you see. And by closing the button, I now look good. The thing is, normally, what do you do when you wear a sport coat, right? You keep it buttoned when you walk, and when you sit down, the etiquette is that you open it up. So I'm changing that. My power knows no boundaries. Also, neither does my guest list, because today I've got Tom Shanahan. He's the author of Ray of Lights, a book about the 1966 Michigan State Spartans and really how they influenced college football henceforth. This is going to be at 1:30, so there's plenty of time to talk about, some of the latest ETSU news. They announced their Hall of Fame class, and it's a good one, too. Very recognizable. The NFL has released their list of the top 100 players as they see fit, and I think it's kind of surprising that they chose number 1, although it's difficult to disagree. Of course, we'll discuss the trades that were made. The Braves now, I think you can easily say, are one of the 4 best teams in baseball. Unfortunately, that may mean they're the 4th best team in baseball, which won't win them the World Series, but still, they really improved their bullpen, which was a major, it's been atrocious since the break. So, talk a little bit about that. Training camps are open. First preseason game of the year. Of course, we're going to try to stay local. There's also been where Phil Steele thinks the Tennessee Volunteers will be selected, and I keep going on All for Tennessee's Facebook page, which I love, Caleb Calhoun on who's better, Nate Peterman or Josh Dobbs. I evidently am the only fan of Nate Peterman, and I understand why. 3 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, you do it. But this guy, in college, I'm telling you, I said this before. My guy beat the national champion in 2012. Josh Dobbs lost to Alabama, the number 2 team, 49-10. There you go. I don't really have to. But I don't want to begin talking about that today. Today, let's see here. I would like to talk to you about a topic that many are discussing, they're dancing all the way around. There's been some conversation, and you get the idea it's eventually going to come. Now, whether this is a good change or a bad, I don't know, but I think it's a good change. Here it is. Roger Goodell, embattled commissioner of the NFL, I think too embattled, to tell you the truth. I see what Rob Manfred is trying to do, and it's just change and destroy every tradition baseball has. And, now they have, we'll go to the Atlantic League, this feeder on change in baseball. And the problem is the last two commissioners have really been about changing the game for change's sake, and it doesn't make any sense. And the game has suffered for it. Think about how many NHL teams have moved since Gary Bettman became the commissioner of hockey. He's been there almost 30 years now. A guy named John Ziegler was there. Had no clue. No clue. They're happy with Bettman because he can get national TV contracts. It's the first time since the 70s that happened. So that's one thing. Adam Silver? Progressive commissioner. Well, let's see how that works. It could. I actually, and there are a lot of things that Silver does that I like. And there are a lot of things that I'm like, you really are sectioning your fan base. You really are, making half the country very uncomfortable. I do understand. Yes, let's mix sports and politics. Fine. But it seems to be a one-sided coin, if you will, that the NBA wishes to promote. Nevertheless, Roger Goodell seems to be the most embattled commissioner. Manfred, maybe. I don't think the baseball fans like him, but the press hasn't put out the long knives for him. But Goodell knows how to handle the long knives. And he would like to get rid of 2 to 4, and they play 4, preseason games and have an 18-game regular season schedule. I think it's a great idea. Didn't the USFL play 18 games in the World League? Or was it a 20-game schedule? I'm sorry. Critics speak of fear of injury. They miss the point. Wouldn't 4 games exchanged for 2 actually prevent injuries? And also, is there anything worse than a team's football season being totally destroyed because a player was hurt and lost for the season in the preseason? And I know that the starters barely play nowadays, but that's the thing. I mean, if Julio Jones, Atlanta Falcons, won't be playing in tonight's Hall of Fame game, and he won't be playing in a preseason at all, and he'll probably not miss a step on opening day, then why have the preseason? I mean, you'll have scrimmages, which is enough for high school and college. And they determine their starters that way. And to tell you the truth, in the NFL, I think the starters are a hell of a lot more predetermined than they are in any given high school or college year. And even you can say that, being drafted would probably have more of an emphasis if there's no preseason in who you were drafted, because there wouldn't be, the long fourth quarter run from the free agent running back that puts them on the practice squad or something like that. And I guess we do see, 7th round, 6th round picks cut for free agents. I'm not sure that would change. Now, I think there would be a better chance for the early round picks to make it. I mean, I can tell you, in the 80s, I can remember even second round picks not making the NFL roster. It was rare, but it happened. Happened more at the beginning of the decade. Then, the scouting got a little bit more determined. And also, I think NFL teams just did not want to admit that they made a mistake. And I could see with the preseason, if you did that, you'd have more of those, shall we say, scouting egos, all draft choices make the team. I do get it, okay? But, are we really going to mourn for the free agent football player versus the 7th round pick, and that's why we should keep around a preseason? That seems to be a very small reason here. 3 years ago, the Miami Dolphins. I'm talking a lot of Miami Dolphins on this show for some reason lately. Okay? Miami Dolphins, they're coming off a playoff year. Then Ryan Tannehill was lost for the 2017 season because he got hurt in the preseason. Now he's the backup quarterback of the Titans, right? The Dolphins have suffered mightily since. After that playoff year in 16, they went 6-10 in 17. They went 7-9 last year. And I would say the smart money has them first pick of the 2020 draft. I really would. That's debatable and all that, but yes, I think the Miami Dolphins, you can make that argument. The only thing that would probably save them is they got to play the Bills and the Jets twice. They got 4 games against those teams. So, perhaps they can get a couple of victories that a team with a stronger schedule or in a stronger division would not. But, yeah, you're not looking at the Miami Dolphins win a Super Bowl this year by any means. Now, if it's not a big name like a starting quarterback like Tannehill, or say Jordy Nelson 4 years ago, they were lost for the season, the preseason. And consider last year some of the no-names that were hurt. Guys like the Washington Redskins rookie running back Darius Geis. If they had him towards the end of the year, maybe the Redskins can withstand the loss of Alex Smith a little bit better. Maybe the Eagles would have been better suited to defend their Super Bowl if linebacker Paul Warrilow, who they signed as free agent, wasn't lost for the season with a preseason injury. And you look at, the history of the preseason. Michael Vick, Bubba Smith, Buddy Idolette. You know who he was? He was left tackle of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Got a career-ending injury in the preseason back in 88. Since the merger, 88 is the worst year the Steelers have ever had. They didn't have a backup left tackle that year. So they had a 10th round pick they were going to try to groom that year and develop, and he wasn't so good when they threw out a 10th round pick from Eastern Kentucky at left tackle to start initially. So why, with all these injuries, do we even want the preseason? The season ticket holders in the NFL, like moi, must pay full price for these games, despite the fact they're played by players who won't make the team, and these games won't count for anything in the standings. And they're really insignificant. When the Washington Redskins won their first Super Bowl, they only lost 1 game during the season. They lost all 4 in the preseason. When the Detroit Lions were 0-16 in 2008, you want to guess what their preseason record was? 4-0. Tonight, it ought to be a storyline. Hey, let's get this sneak preview of Joe Flacco, and for that matter, the promising Missouri product Drew Lock. That's to be their first game in the NFL, but they won't be playing. So the drama is off, and it makes you wonder why the game is even being played in the first place. Are the teams that uncertain about their 7th round draft choices? I mean, that's what these preseason games are coming down to. The one thing the Hall of Fame game gets right, played at a neutral site. Fans shouldn't have the preseason games attached to the regular season ticket packages, and if they are, then the games ought to be complimentary. Now, I know that what you do then is you just raise the price of the regular season. Here's your, but at least the resale value, you could get a profit on the exhibition games, if you will. Regardless, the NFL preseason played at neutral sites. At least that gives an appeal to the fans. First of all, they don't have to charge season ticket holders. Second of all, it gives the opportunity for the franchise to either be regional or just promote the NFL in a place that it normally wouldn't be. Like, let's say, East Tennessee. I've seen 2 NFL games in my life in Knoxville at Neyland Stadium. When you consider that. They once played a game in Bristol Motor Speedway. Just hold off, Employment Solutions. Think about the Tennessee Titans. I talk about this. Are the Tennessee Titans really the home team around here? I mean, I think there are probably more Titans fans than Predators fans around here, but I think when you look at percentage-wise of, let's say, hockey fans against football fans, I think that there would be a greater percentage of Predators fans among the hockey fans around here than you would find Titans fans around the football fans. Does that make sense to you? But I've seen the Facebook map. You've seen that. I've talked about this a lot on the show. There's a Facebook map, and it showed by likes on Facebook what the most popular football team in every county in the country is, what the most popular baseball team, etc., etc. And in this market, there are four, arguably five teams that you could make the argument for, well, the counties rank as number one. Give you an example. Carter County. You want to get, this isn't that difficult to figure out. What's number one team in Carter County? Dallas Cowboys. Now, I think part of that's the America's team and all that, but they're also number one in Unicoi County and Johnson County. You know, maybe, you know, again, America's team. Cowboys always had a rural appeal. So yeah, maybe that makes Johnson, Carter, and Unicoi County Cowboys country. Washington County, Sullivan County, Greene County, that's Titans. Washington County, Virginia is Pittsburgh Steelers. Found that interesting. I've got an idea why. Used to be WCYB would always carry the Steelers game. That, I mean, during the Bradshaw and old Joe Green days, yeah. And you go a little bit up north into Virginia and you'll get the Redskins. North Carolina, it's all Carolina Panthers. So what's the home team around here? Kind of depends on what county you live in. And as a result, I think the Tennessee Titans aren't as popular as they could be. In fact, I don't even think they ought to be, you know, automatic on TV around here. That's my opinion. I think we should get the real game of the week and not, you know, just what whoever the Titans are playing. But that being said, take a look at the Titans, and I'm wondering, why do they play the preseason games in Nashville? Wouldn't they be better suited to play one in their former home of the Liberty Bowl and another one in Knoxville? Think about it. If not Chattanooga, I mean, it'd be a tight fit, but you'd say, okay, we'll have a premium seating game. Or for that matter, BMS. Why not? That would definitely help the Titans out as a regional franchise, wouldn't it? Now, there's been criticism of this proposal to extend the season to 18 games, but for player safety, have the players limited to playing only 16 games. There's been some criticism of that. It would preserve records. I mean, you know, because you figure just like, you know, O.J. Simpson's rushing record was doomed to be broken, and the 2,000-yard rusher is not quite as elite as he once was when O.J. did it some 45-odd years ago. But you knew that, okay, Eric Dickerson's now the single-season all-time leading rusher in the NFL. You knew that the single-season record would pass. You knew the passing yards. Gunn is the 4,000-yard passer. I shouldn't say it's gone. I mean, obviously guys throw for 4,000 yards. But now maybe the prestige is to throw for 5,000 yards in a season. Whereas once it was 4,000, a 14-game season. So, okay, they're saying, what would 18... I couldn't imagine 6,000 in a year. I couldn't imagine that. Although we're going away from the running game, I could possibly see a 2,000-yard rusher in 18-game season. I give you that if they played 18. I think Herschel Walker has the single-season professional football rushing record with an 18-game season, New Jersey Generals, USFL, owned by Donald Trump. But nevertheless, where we're going with this is some records, obviously, a lot of records would fall, obviously, if you went to an 18-game season. But you keep them to 16 games, then some of those, you know, it's not an automatic where you would start saying, well, these are 18-game records, these are 16-game records, these are 14-game records. It's like Ford Frick suddenly became the biggest football fan in the world. You wouldn't necessarily have that if you limited the players to 16 games. Keep them a little bit safer. And what I would like about that strategy is, strategy. Who do I play the backup quarterback against? And for that matter, who do I don't know, not only who do I play the backup quarterback against, but you'd have more weight placed on the overall, the depth of your team. I think that's a good thing. My opinion. Now, one thing, though, I'd like to see of the preseason continued in an 18-game schedule is the teams determining their own schedule. I've said this before, I'll say it again. It makes no sense for the Tennessee Titans to only play the Atlanta Falcons and the Carolina Panthers once every 4 years and only once every 8 years at home. These are natural geographic rivals. You could say the same thing about, let's say, the New York Giants and the Jets. You could say the same thing about the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Philadelphia Eagles. You could say the same thing about the Dallas Cowboys and the Dallas Texans. What year am I living in? It's not the AFL, folks. Ernie Stautner doesn't coach the team. The Houston Texans. Or say the Washington Redskins and the Baltimore Ravens. You know, those sort of, I mean, we go up with a bunch of other ones. I mean, geographically, if you went, Los Angeles is an obvious one. Although I do think, you know, Chargers are probably destined to be the second fiddle in Los Angeles. They're probably now going to be the poor man's New York Jets when it comes to popularity, and I don't even know if they'll be that, because at least the Jets have all those old AFL fans who were 14 or 12 or whatever when Joe Namath was playing for them. Which is basically the entire New York Jets fan base. Guys who were 12 years old when Joe Namath played for the Jets. That's basically every last Jets fan. Have you ever noticed this? Anyway, what if you could voluntarily add those geographic rivals? Let's use the Titans. Just say, you know, that they play Atlanta, not just every 4 years, but as often as you please. And, you know, Battle of Chattanooga, call it. I don't know. But what if you did that? I think you'd have a lot more interest in Tennessee and for the Titans, and for that matter, with the Falcons as well. Now, one thing I would hate to see go in, if you eliminated the preseason, would be that annual game in Canton, but maybe you can keep it. You know, you got that kickoff game this year. It's Bears and Packers, usually features a Super Bowl champ. But what if opening day, you know, an 18-game season, always began in Canton, Ohio? And I know the stadium there is, but it's now called, it used to be Fawcett Stadium. It's now Tom Benson Stadium. Do not ask me how the former Saints owner got his naming rights. This shows you, you know. But still, why Tom Benson, owner of the Saints, has a football stadium in Canton, Ohio named after him. This is, you know. But let's just say the stadium formerly known as Fawcett Stadium. What if, let's see here, you would have that opening day game played in Canton? What if you had Bears-Packers in Canton to kick off the season? I think that would be neat. And even if you had fewer seats, you just put them at a premium. I mean, you got a $200 ticket, you know. And the fans would come from Green Bay and Milwaukee and Chicago to Canton, Ohio, and they'd all go to the Hall of Fame. And it'd be great. But the preseason as it currently exists is unhealthy, unpopular, and unnecessary. And it would not be missed if it was dissolved. I'm Marky Billson. Yeah, they got the football season. It begins today, August 1st. Well, preseason. So we got a month of nothing games. Football's the only sport they play nothing games. I really got the scrimmages beginning this weekend, I guess, in high school football, but it's a little bit of a different animal, if you will. I got some ETSU news. They released a new Hall of Fame class. Who's in it? I'll tell you, Tri-City Sports Now.
Employment Solutions, the Tri-Cities leader in staffing experience.